Democratic Congressman Troy Carter says there will be a congressional hearing in New Orleans on the Department of Homeland Security's illegal immigration sweeps.
Chris Joseph reports there are questions of who the department has arrested.
A press release this month announced Operation Catahoula Crunch, Homeland Security's stated goal: target criminal illegal aliens in sanctuary cities. On Friday, a Kenner resident said that's not the reality on the ground.
Legal residents with no prior crimes are being harassed. Some have been taken for no reason.
Fox 8 wanted to verify who is actually being arrested. Last week, we asked both Border Patrol and ICE for a list of Catahoula Crunch arrestees. A Border Patrol spokesperson responded, "I would not expect that to be made available." He did not explain why. Homeland Security closed one records request for the list, and another is pending. Rafael Goyeneche is a law enforcement and good government watchdog.
So the reporting for this type of initiative is going to be totally driven by what the desires are of Customs and Border Protection to disclose it. I would expect that they wouldn't release any stats until they conclude their operation here, which is still ongoing.
Homeland Security has released the names and photos of more than 30 immigrants it's arrested. It says they have criminal histories. The department estimates it's arrested 370 people. A department press release from last week says the DHS is making New Orleans safer through arresting drug dealers, hit-and-run criminals, and an arsonist.
It is extremely uncommon for them to release their information.
Michael Gahagan is a Jefferson Parish immigration attorney. He says ICE often leaves families in the dark.
So sometimes they'll go a week or two. They have no clue where the person is, and they won't know until they get a call from the inside. ICE is not going to call the family. It's not published anywhere.
When local law enforcement arrests someone, that information shows up on jail rosters. That can be accessed online. With ICE, it's not that simple. ICE does offer a detainee search portal, which allows people to look for detainees one at a time if they know their personal information. Congressman Troy Carter represents New Orleans.
We get inundated with phone calls from individuals nearly every day, from everyone who wants to know how to protect themselves.
He says he expects a congressional hearing on the department sweep to take place in New Orleans in the coming weeks.
Information, even for us, has been very difficult to ascertain.
In Kenner and in the region, concerns and questions about the sweep remain. Now, we reached out to both the Border Patrol and ICE for comment on this story. They have not responded. John?
Thanks, Chris. Louisiana Public